I'm the Kegel Queen. I'm a registered nurse and my name is Alice Adams. There's been a lot of talk lately about this blog post interview with Katie Bowman. And every so often someone like Katie comes along and gives Kegels some bad press, saying that Kegels don't work. The only problem with that is that Kegels actually do work. Kegels do work, and they work really well. If you ask Katie, Kegels don't work. That's bogus. But if you ask my students, Kegels do work. Kegels work to reverse prolapse, Kegels work to stop you peeing your pants, and Kegels work to bring you amazing sex. I personally have been experiencing those benefits with doing Kegels correctly for years. You have to do Kegels correctly to get the benefits, and the problem is that almost everyone is doing Kegels completely wrong. My students, because I've taught them how to do Kegels correctly, are saying things like this. I'll change some of these names to protect their privacy. Here's Barbara in Oregon. Wanted to let you know I received your materials and found them very helpful. Incontinence went away right away. Uterus is returning to a more normal position. I'm no longer considering surgery. Thanks so much for your info. I'm so glad I learned to do Kegels correctly. Then here's Brielle. She's a student midwife in Austin, Texas. Brielle says, I started the Kegel Queen program as a desperate attempt to improve a cervical prolapse that has been affecting my health for nearly 3 years. After only 2 months, I have seen incredible results and a complete disappearance of my symptoms. Then there's Karen in Herefordshire in the UK. She says, the Kegels have already brought about a marked improvement with my rectocele. Then there's Susan in California. Susan had a prolapsed bladder and uterus and really bad stress incontinence. She was really suffering and she had surgery actually scheduled. She had a date for surgery and she canceled her surgery when she found my program. So Susan says, wow, my incontinence is probably 80% improved. I am so happy. I am still doing Kegels twice a day and probably will keep it up forever. I don't want to lose the pelvic floor strength ever again. I am so very grateful to you. I was beginning to feel like I couldn't go out in public anymore. I always had to be within sight of a bathroom. I was miserable and depressed. You really gave me back my life and my freedom. Women don't say things like that if Kegels don't work. Kegels do work. As long as you do them correctly, Kegels do work and they work really, really well. And it's not just my students who will tell you that Kegels work, it's the research. The Kegel Queen program is based on decades of scientific research. These are some of the studies and abstracts that I've used to learn about Kegels and the pelvic floor and how to do Kegels correctly. What these papers tell you is that Kegels do work, and they work really well. Like this one here, this one describes a study where some women with stress incontinence were in 2 groups. Half of them did a Kegel program, the other half didn't. The ones who did Kegels were 17 times more likely to be improved or cured than the ones who didn't do Kegels. Kegels really work. If you listen to some of what Katie Bowman says, you get the impression that the benefits of Kegels don't last. But then look at this. This study looked at women 5 years later after they had learned how to do Kegels correctly. These were women with problems who learned how to do Kegels, and 5 years later, 70% of them were very happy with what was going on down there, and 75% of them had no urine leaks on a stress test. Kegels do work, and they work really well as long as you do them correctly. The problem is that almost everyone is doing Kegels completely wrong. Katie Bowman says Kegels are part of our inherited cultural information, and that's true. You hear about Kegels from your friends on TV and magazines and whatever. That is bogus. Bogus. That's bogus. That kind of Kegels is bogus. Real Kegels are what you find in the research. This is real Kegels, but the cultural information we get is bogus. Bogus. Kegel devices are bogus. Bogus. Kegel devices are expensive, they're a pain, you have to carry them around, you have to take your pants off, find privacy. Often they don't even work. Real Kegels you can do with your pants on. Doing 80 or 100 or 200 or 500 Kegels a day is bogus. Bogus. Real Kegels, you do a tiny fraction of that number. Doing Kegels for 30 minutes or an hour a day is bogus. Bogus. Real Kegels you can do in minutes a day. Doing Kegels while you're peeing is bogus. Real Kegels you should never practice while you're peeing. Doing fast, light little Kegels like this, bogus, is bogus. Real Kegels are strong, sustained contractions that build the pelvic floor muscles. Doing Kegels without relaxing, consciously and thoroughly relaxing the pelvic floor muscles is bogus. Bogus. Real Kegels include contraction and relaxation of the muscles. Real Kegels give you really good control of contracting and relaxing the muscles both. Doing Kegels when you're stopped at a red light or while you're waiting in line in the grocery store is bogus. Bogus. Real Kegels take your full attention, and real Kegels need to be done on a regular basis. They need to be a predictable part of your daily routine, just minutes a day. But you can't do them while you're driving your car or in the grocery store.